Hi guys, welcome back to the Prediction Show. I'm Elmo,
I'm Tuna.
and first of all, I want to apologise for no video last week, and I hold my hands up. It was all me. We recorded a video. I think it was like an hour and a half long. I went to edit it, and all I could hear was Tuna, and no one wants a podcast where it's just Tuna.
They do, but it might be a bit confusing. Where
I
what's he
w-
replying to?
I was talking, but there were no audio. So I've been playing about with a few different things on my setup, trying to get better audio, different applications, things like that. So um, it's fixed now. Everything's working. So if you're watching this video, it's worked. So
Yeah.
so last weekend was the last weekend before another international break. So there's
Ooh.
no games next week, but there's games week after. Um, we'll take you through our predictions for last week, and we'll see how we did. There won't be a video about before, but we did tweet it out. Our predictions for this week and how we did last week. So go and check that out on our Twitter. And please follow us on Twitter as well. If you want to talk to us, by all means, send us a message, comment on any of our posts. We open conversation.
Especially if you're fans of anyone other than Sheffield United, because we're getting kind of Sheffield United heavy from what I've noticed. So
Yeah.
don't get me wrong, I like Sheffield United, best team in Sheffield, but
No, Sheffield's the best team in Sheffield.
well,
I've just gone into Football League on Football
best.
Manager.
There you go. Sorry, Sheffield United fans, you're being replaced already.
Yeah. So let's start off with the first game, which was on Friday. So we had two games on a Friday. And this was Brighton versus Burnley.
Yeah. And that's enough on that game.
Yeah, so a lovely 0-0 draw to start us off on the weekend.
It was. It's not that there wasn't chances. There definitely was. It was just one of them, typical games of two teams that are struggling.
Yeah, and like you say, there was chances, but other than that, there wasn't much that actually happened.
No,
Danny Welbeck's still struggling to score. It's kind of gone downhill a bit, hasn't it?
he has. When you look at some of the comparisons he had when he first came onto the scene, but yeah, I mean, they say there wasn't too much that happened. Burnley hit the crossbar, deflected cross. That was. That's probably the closest they've come from most of this season. Never mind this game. So
I think Brighton was definitely the better team. They had a lot of goal chances. Not that many on target, but they had plenty of chances. I think that's one of their issues. They're just struggling to put the ball in the back of the net. And we've said every single week, we've said that Brighton are looking good.
yeah,
It's just
but
that they're
just
not getting the results.
no, and I don't know how many more times we can say it before it's like actually they're not actually that good.
when they've been relegated and it's confirmed,
Yeah,
and we're like, I mean, it was okay.
when they actually finish with worse points total than Derby, and we're like, no, they look good though. Yeah, I mean, both teams need a big improvement. We spoke last week in quite some detail about Burnley, and obviously you won't have seen that, but we're saying how bad they are defensively. So, I mean, a 0-0, they'll be happy on that regard to have not conceded.
Yeah, like I say, with the amount of chances that Brighton are, I think they'll definitely be kicking themselves that they need to be doing better. Whether that's, I don't know what it is, because they've got some decent players. It's
They
just
have.
that they just can't get the ball in back in net.
There was one moment of potential controversy in this game. Brighton feel like they should have had a penalty. There was a volley that came in the box, and it did hit defender's arm, but wasn't given after review because his arms were tucked in.
Yeah.
And Unfortunately, that didn't set the tone for the rest of the weekend.
No, I mean it gave Burnley another point. It's only the second point of the season, so I suppose that's a positive for them. They're still waiting for the first win, but that puts Brighton 16th on 6 points. So 3 above relegation. I know it's very early, but it's just not good enough, especially with the performances that they've been having. I had 2-1 to Burnley for this one.
And I had 2 on to Brighton.
So I think every time we go opposite, they're like, nah, we're going to have this a draw.
Yeah, just to not score any at all.
And then moving on, we had Southampton versus Newcastle.
We did. Che Adams and Stuart Armstrong. Can't remember his first name already. Stuart Armstrong. I knew it was an S. Scoring the goals in this one.
I had a 2-2 draw for this one. I couldn't decide who was going to do better in this one because Newcastle been hit and miss. They've had some good displays this season. They played well against United, at least for the first half an hour, 40 minutes. Southampton have looked good as well, so I just couldn't call this one, so I went 2-2.
I went 3-2 to Southampton. I just expected them to be the better team. So they got the win, and it put them top of the table for a few hours at least.
Ever.
Yes.
It's mental. I mean, no offense to Southampton, but Southampton being top of the Premier League, even for a couple of hours, it's just absolutely mental.
Yeah, I mean, it was about 16, 17 hours in the end, so, almost a full day top of the league. First goal came from a Walcott cutback, and it was a pretty nice finish from Che Adams. A player that doesn't probably get as many chances as you probably should have, but when, you've got someone like Danny Ings, you can't really blame the manager for leaving players out things.
I think the thing with that goal as well is for a good 5 minutes, Newcastle was trying to clear, but they was trying to walk it out and dance it out. It started off on the left-hand side of the pitch. They're trying to get it clear. Southampton get the ball. Eventually, Newcastle get the ball off them again, and then again, Southampton just take it off of Newcastle as if it's just like a pass the ball to each other kind of thing. And then Walcott, he just grabs the ball. It's like, nah, I've had enough of this. Runs into the box, pulls it back to Che Adams. Great strike from Che Adams.
It was a very nice composed finish, and that's what Southampton need. Obviously, Danny Ings being out injured, they need someone to step up.
Right as well. I think this was his 350th game in the Premier League.
I believe
I'm sure it was something like that. But he's not looking too bad at Southampton, to be honest with you. I think this is the revival what he needed.
Yeah, he seems happy to be home.
Yeah.
Pretty much, and he does look like a rejuvenated person. But we've also said this before about him in points of his career, and then he picks up an injury, and so that's what he needs to try and avoid happening.
I think the rest of the game. I mean, Southampton had some really good chances. They're like Romeu had a couple of decent chances from outside the box. Walcott had a couple of chances. I think Che Adams had another decent chance as well.
Yeah, obviously, you say Romeo, he hit the bar, which I think the keeper got a fingertip to as well. It was a cracking save. Walcott probably should have scored not long after the goal.
Yeah, again, a decent strike. Southampton looked good when they were going forward, and Newcastle just didn't look good at all, to be honest with you. It wasn't a good day for them.
Yeah, I mean, the only person that can really hold their head high is Carl Darlow in the goal, because he did pull off some great saves.
Yeah, definitely.
In the game, and didn't stand much of a chance for the 2 goals, really.
No, the second goal was like, I think 2 I think defenders again kind of like dancing around with it, and Armstrong just gets the ball off the defender, dances in front of the. I don't know why there were a lot of dancing in this game. Apparently, dances in front of the defenders and just slots it home to secure the victory.
And again, another little bit of controversy maybe in this game. There was a tackle that came in just before the second goal on Theo Walcott in the area. Nothing was given. VAR looked at it, played on, and there was a lot of people on Twitter, especially ex-pros, that couldn't understand why it wasn't a penalty.
I think it would have been very soft if it were a penalty.
It's again, I've said this a couple of times so far this season. I think if it had been given, it wouldn't have been overturned.
Yeah,
because you could see why it potentially was given. He won the ball, but sort of went over the ball at the same time.
yeah.
But I mean, Walcott came out himself after the game and said it wasn't a penalty; it was a good tackle. So,
but the thing that I hate about that is it's good that he came out and said it wasn't a penalty, but how much of a meal he made of when he went down to then come out and say it wasn't a penalty. That's what infuriates me about all these soft penalties and all these players that are trying to get penalties when they are openly admitted that it wasn't a penalty, yet you're rolling around that floor for 5 minutes.
And I can imagine if it was given, he wouldn't have said to the referee, actually, no, mate, that wasn't there.
Exactly.
It'd have been a different story had it been given and he was speaking to the media after. And yeah, there was definitely contact. And
was it Robbie Fowler a few years ago? Quite a few years ago, where I think he got brought down in the penalty area and got a penalty. And he actually was saying to the ref, no, it went a penalty. But he had to take the penalty anyway.
Yeah, I know it's happened a couple of times over in Germany. And, they've just rolled the penalty wide and just played on. And But maybe I can't see anyone doing that nowadays.
Maybe that's what a few players actually did this weekend, but we'll come to those when we get to them.
So, we've gone through 2 games and a potential bit of controversy in both them games.
And I promise that we're not just recording videos when Man United win and not when they lose. But the next game is Everton versus Man United, which was the early Saturday kickoff. I had 2-1 to Everton because I was sick of jinxing United and I'd obviously lost faith in our performance. And obviously I predicted this before we had a very poor performance midweek as well.
Yep. I went for a 2-2 draw. I couldn't separate the two teams based on the recent form. Both have been relatively poor.
But Man United come out winners 3-1.
They did 2 from Bruno Fernandes, 1 from Cavani for United, and Bernard for Everton. Bernard scoring for Everton. Obviously, Everton went 1-0 up in this game.
Yeah.
Through Bernard. I'll call him Bernard from now on. I don't want to get in trouble with any Everton fans more than I probably already am.
It's first of the season as well. Decent shot. I thought the way he looked and everything like that, I thought he was going to be curling that in top right corner, but he just slots it through, I think it was Wan-Bissaka's legs.
Yeah, it wasn't great from United defensively at all. It was a long ball from Pickford. It was either Maguire or Lindelof went out to challenge for the ball and lost the header, and like you say, he slots it through Wan-Bissaka's legs. But I mean, good response, obviously, from United.
Yeah, about 5 minutes later, I think, I'm not sure if it was across from Shaw.
It was
across from the left. The amount of space that Bruno had, it just gave him so much space in the area. The ball come in, jumps like a salmon, not a tuna, salmon, and heads it into net. I think even the commentators were saying, "Look, it's not just penalties and free kicks that I score. I can score with my head as well." And it was a decent header as well.
It was a good header. Great cross from Shaw.
Poor defending.
incredibly poor defending. And then Everton hit the post. They could have gone 2-1 up. Was this Bernard as well?
I think, yeah. I think Calvert-Lewin was very frustrated in this game because he just wasn't getting the service what they've had in the first few games. They went 4 games unbeaten. The form's definitely dropped, and he looked very frustrated with just everything about the game.
Yeah, it definitely wasn't his best game. Yeah, we can understand his frustration with it not being pulled across to him because he was in position for a tap in. However, if that gone in and not hit the post, then again, completely different story. And yeah, United obviously made them pay for that.
Yeah, Bruno Fernandes,
freak goal.
Yeah, so he crosses it in, and
Rashford leaps, tries to get a header in, misses it.
At first, I thought it was Rashford's goal. It just slots into the bottom. Well, it actually hits the bottom of the post, doesn't it?
It does, and then
bounces in.
Bounces in.
But upon looking at the replay, it just missed Rashford by about half an inch. And
yeah, there was one specific camera angle where you could see that it definitely wasn't any contact on that. I did think he tried to claim it there, didn't he, originally?
Yeah.
I mean, you can't blame him.
No, and I do like in the interview after the game as well, there was questioning Bruno, and he says, I'm not sure if Rashford's claiming that goal or if it's yours. And he says, look, I don't mind. If he wants to claim it and it came off him, then he can have it. And he was very humble and very, you don't have many players like that. And I thought that interview was great.
I mean, I'd imagine, again, it'd be a different story if he'd scored another goal in this game. Potential hat trick. Like, nah, mate, my ball, thank you.
Well, you say that, but obviously the very poor Everton attack, and it gets cleared. I think it was Maguire that clears it to Bruno Fernandes, who it kind of looked like the goal that we conceded midweek, apart from the fact that there was a defender at the back ready to defend, whereas we didn't. Just runs upfield. He's got Cavani outside of him to his left. Gets to the edge of the box. Looks like he's going to pop it into the top right corner and unselfishly passes it to the left to Cavani for Cavani to score his first goal. First Premier League goal, first Man United goal, first goal this season. Loads of firsts there. But again, Bruno was on for his hat-trick, and instead he gives it to Cavani for his first goal. I thought that was absolutely brilliant.
Yeah, as you say, it came from a counter-attack, and I think it was Decore who had a swing and a miss about 6 yards out. And if he'd made contact with that, then you'd probably back that end up in the back of the net. And incredibly poor from him, not one that he'd want to see again.
Yeah.
Once again, a little bit of controversy in this game. Potential penalty shout for Maguire. So a free kick comes in. Pickford spills the ball. Maguire sort of gets his knee to it and then gets just volleyed in the leg by 2 players.
Yeah.
It was looked at. It wasn't given. For me, it's a foul. But, well, I was going to say, the Maguire one himself is a foul on Maguire, but he also pushed Pickford before.
I think that's why VAR didn't give it. He pushed Pickford. Obviously, Pickford was in the air as well. So when you're in the air, the momentum's kind of gone. It shoved him out. And to be fair, yes, Pickford obviously did get shoved back, but Pickford still did poor to not catch that ball, to be honest with you. Maguire gets the ball and comes down and tries to slot it back at net, and he gets booted both ways.
I mean, again, pretty lucky. Pickford could have easily seriously injured him there. It was a very, very wild swing of his boot.
Yeah.
And if he'd caught him stood on his thigh or whatever, then it's a couple of weeks out at least.
To be honest, I think the whole game from both sides, there was some very rash challenges.
Yeah,
Bruno
Fernandez had a running battle, didn't he, with Lucadina?
Yeah.
For me, lucky to stay on the pitch.
Yeah, maybe.
For one moment in particular, stood out for me. Lucadinho had made a tackle on him, no foul was given, and he went back in on Dino and conceded a free kick. And Bruno then just popped up and immediately started waving the card, and
yeah,
he was lucky to get away with that.
Yeah, I hate seeing that.
But I mean, if you ignore that, he had a fantastic game, almost a 10 out of 10 performance, and even if you include that, you're still a solid 8-9.
Yeah, it was I think it was a deserved win for us. I don't think Everton looked great. We definitely had some other chances as well, which we should have put in. We a well needed 3 points as well after the week that United had. Obviously losing 1-0 to Arsenal last week, and then the shocking display midweek as well in Champions League. I think there was a bit of fire as well in Solskjaer in the interview after, where he was proper going in at the fixture list, because obviously travelling to Istanbul, playing a game on Wednesday, travelling back, and then playing the half-12 kickoff on a Saturday.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
It's ridiculous in any season, but right now, with fixtures coming thick and fast for all players, it was ridiculous. We should. I mean, there's nothing wrong with playing on a Saturday, but at least like a late kickoff on a Saturday, something like that.
Well, I mean, what I don't understand is, obviously, as we'll get to later on, Man City played Liverpool. Both of these teams played on Tuesday. Why could you not just switch these fixtures around?
Because Sky wanted Super Sunday.
But yeah,
I think that's what it is. I think it's because BT had Everton versus Man United, and it just happened. But yeah, things like that, I think they need to be looked at. And I'm not just saying this for Man United. Throughout the season, depending on who plays in what competition, it could happen to Liverpool, Man City, and this season's not a normal season. There's been no clear break or anything like that, and even internationals. If you play for an international club, then you're potentially playing 2 to 3 games in the next 2 weeks as well.
Yeah, I mean, obviously Liverpool had a similar situation after that last international break, where we had 3 players playing for Brazil on a Wednesday, and then the same kickoff time against Everton, conveniently. But I mean, I know Klopp and Arteta has come out and supported Ole's views on this, and I say it's not going to find many times where I agree with Man United, but it's a joke. And
but you also didn't like the fact that Klopp was sticking up for Ole as well.
Yeah, this season is just such a weird one. The amount of times you see in the press, Liverpool and Man United, to stop.
But yeah, one funny thing that I do want to point out as well is at the kickoff, everyone went down on one knee, apart from Martial, who started running forward.
How do we not know by now? Mane did it as well towards the end of last season, and you'd think they'd know by now.
I just thought that was hilarious.
Yeah, so Everton's poor form continues. That's 3 defeats and a draw in the last 4. First time Ancelotti's lost 3 league games in a row since November 2006.
And after winning first 4, that's not great. Did they win the first 4?
Yeah, they
won beaten the first 4. I know that.
Yeah, they won the first 4, draw against Liverpool, and then 3 defeats after.
So in 2 weeks they've gone from 1st to 7th.
Yeah, it just shows how tight the league is this season.
Man United still down there in 14th with 10 points. It's a weird season. The teams that are up there aren't normally up there. I'm not saying they shouldn't be up there because some teams have deserved it, but they're not normally up there. So we'll see what that's like, especially around Christmas time. I'm hoping that's when the league starts looking more normal, or
Yeah,
more of what we used to. Yeah, a nice 4 goals in that game, which kind of started a very goalsome. I don't know if that's a word, but I like that word.
it is now. We're running with that.
A very goalsome Saturday. With Crystal Palace versus Leeds United, the next on the list. Crystal Palace beating Leeds 4-1.
Yep. Leeds continuing their run of goals in games, whether for or against, just goals. And I stupidly predicted this to be 1-1, despite that.
I had 2-1 Palace. I thought Palace would do them. I thought it would be a tight game.
So
It was an
Bamford
interesting
scoring
game.
Leeds goal, Scott Dan, Eze, Ayew scoring for Palace, and then a Helder Costa own goal in there as well. Started off with Dan's header, which came from corner, hit the bottom of the bar, and bounced in. Great header.
Yeah, very good header. I think they said last time he scored was like December 2017. So not someone who you normally see on the goal sheet, but great header. The keeper, he had no chance. Kind of bounced off the post and then kind of.
Yeah, I mean, it perhaps looked like he should have done more with it, but there was nothing he could do with that.
No.
And then came a moment which I could go on about for hours and hours and hours. Patrick Bamford having a goal disallowed for offside for pointing where he wanted the ball, and his arm was offside.
This was absolutely ridiculous, and I think so. There's 2 points that was ridiculous about this. One, the fact that it got given for offside, and 2, how long it took.
Yep.
The fact that they started putting the lines and everything like that on and looking at it for 5 minutes, it was just ridiculous. For a player who can't point where he wants the ball because he's going to be offside, what are we doing with football?
My biggest issue with this is how it's worded in the laws. Because he's got his arm outstretched, they then use that sleeve area as measurement. However, because the defender's arm is down by his side, they use his armpit and not the outer part of his arm. If he'd used the outer part of his arm, he'd have been onside.
It's like Bamford said, you can't score with your hand, so how can your hand be offside?
He came out and said he didn't have a clue like what the rules were in regards to that, and there's been a fair few players this weekend that have echoed that.
Yeah.
And I don't think we're going to see a worse decision than this all season.
I think the thing is as well, there's not just one person in that VAR room. There's 3 people in that VAR room to make sure that there's no mistakes, and the ref gets the chance to look at it. So potentially 4 people are looking at this replay and saying, yes, that's handball. How can 4 people say that?
What I'm going to point out now is technically correct decision in the letter of the law. The law is wrong. The law is a joke, and it's ruining football.
It is.
And I saw this, and I honestly I don't want to watch this anymore.
And
you know what I'm like? For me, backing referees and everything. So you know what? For me to come out and say something like that is, and I don't even like Leeds. I hate Leeds.
We could go on about this for a very long time. So we'll move on. Yes, it was a great goal as well. Chipped it past keeper, but it was disallowed for offside. I'm not sure if that would have had a big impact on the game or not. But you know, Palace later on they get a free kick on the edge of the box, and I don't think he could have got it more in the top corner.
Yeah, another one that clipped the crossbar and went in, and continues the trend of the past couple of weeks of some spectacular free kicks being scored.
His first goal for Everton as well, and that's not a bad first goal.
Everton went last game.
Yeah. I was testing you.
Okay. Well, in that case, you also said handball and not offside earlier, but yes, spectacular free kick. Again, keeper, absolutely no chance. You could probably have 2 or 3 goalkeepers, and none of them would have saved that.
Yeah, definitely.
And obviously, that gives Palace a 2-goal lead. And then Bamford's like, I'm having none of this. I'm having my goal, and I'm getting us back into this game. And again, a pretty nice goal from Bamford.
Yeah, I think the ball's up in the air to defending attacker jump for the ball, and it just lands to Bamford just inside the box.
Touch on
And
his chest and a nice little
strike.
volley. And yeah, it certainly got them back into the game until Helder Costa with another comical goal. So it was a crossing from the left hand side, and he gets a touch on it and somehow beats his own keeper.
I've no idea how that went in.
I've got no idea how that went in. The touch was from outside of the box, and
It was a tight angle as well.
one thing I will say is we've defended the goalkeeper a little bit on the past couple of goals. He should have done a lot better with this one.
Yeah, 100%.
I get that you caught out by deflection, but it's come from far enough away for you to be able to react to that.
Definitely.
And I know there's a few Leeds fans on Twitter that was basically saying the same thing and just wasn't happy at all with him for that.
But Zaha again, he's if he's not scoring, he's providing. Finds Jordan Ayew in plenty of space. Slots it over to him, and decent goal from Ayew as well. I think that's his first of the season.
Yeah, I think so. Poor Leeds defending yet again from this one.
Yeah.
It just wasn't a defender anywhere near him when Ayew took the ball in, and yeah, Bielsa really won't be happy. Again, keeper should have done better.
Yeah.
For me, whenever I've played in goal, if I get the slightest touch on the ball and it goes in, I'm fuming because I've got a touch on it. I should have done better. So if you hit the bottom of your arm and still go in,
Bamford does
like
have another few chances. There's one where he's in loads of space, cross comes in and he goes to head it and it just hits his shoulder instead.
Yeah.
I think Leeds were unlucky, but I think Palace definitely deserved this win and a very nice 3 points for them.
Yeah, a big win for Palace that, pushed them even further up the table.
And my first point in my predictions, which was a very bad weekend for both of us.
Yes, it was. It was our worst weekend since the season started.
I was just giving you a chance, to close them back.
Well, yeah, he didn't really go that well, did it? Again, it could have been a completely different game had the goal stood, but we will never know. Continues that run of controversy in games this weekend. So
yeah. And then the next one, another big scoring game in Chelsea versus Sheffield United. 4-1 win to Chelsea.
Sheffield United actually took the lead in this one through McGoldrick before Abraham, Chilwell, Thiago Silva and Timo Werner scoring the goals. So
I had a 2-1 win, so I wanted them to stop at some point, but Chelsea carried on.
Yeah, I mean, I went for a 3-0 Chelsea win, so at least I got the margin right. But,
yeah.
I just didn't see Sheffield United scoring at all, and 9 minutes in, McGoldrick proved me wrong. A short corner worked pretty well, comes back in. There's a shot from the edge area, and McGoldrick just flicks it past Mendy, who didn't really stand a chance on that one. It was very clever from McGoldrick.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, that just seemed to anger Chelsea.
Yeah, Abraham with a very I don't know. It wasn't a very clean strike. It was very scruffy.
Yeah, he hits it into the ground, and I think that's what beats the keeper.
Yeah,
I think one of them, had he got proper contact, it wasn't going in.
but he
So
gets the equaliser. I think not long after that as well, I was surprised that he didn't get a penalty. There was an attack for Chelsea, and there was at least two defenders that had hold of Abraham running in, and I'm surprised nothing got flagged up there. But obviously there were no appeals as well, so
the same move where Werner hit the crossbar as well. So, yeah, I mean, he wasn't even looked at, like you say. So, but there was definitely a hold on him.
yeah, I think one of the defenders like had his arm like in front of his chest like that, and then the other defender were like pulling him back by his shirt.
Yep. And I mean, he was probably unlucky to not get a touch after it hit the crossbar as well. It just sort of bounced past him just. Ramsdale didn't cover himself in glory with that. And that sort of set the tone for the next goal, where neither Ramsdale nor the defence covered themselves in glory.
Yeah, free kick comes in. I can't remember who takes it, and Thiago just gets in front of. Who was it? Who got in front of?
Got
in front of. Yeah, he got in front of the defender and just slots it home.
Yeah, as a goalkeeper, there, you should be covering your near post anyway. Defender sort of lets it go over his head, and you say Chilwell just has a tap in and back post, and I mean, he still had a fair bit to do from the angle.
Yeah.
But again, Ramsdale just he wasn't where he's supposed to be. If he had been, it wouldn't have gone in.
Thiago Silva, at 36 years old, is only the sixth oldest Premier League scorer for Chelsea.
Yep, and see the second oldest one to score. He's first goal for the club at that age.
Possibly, I don't know that stat, but the sixth oldest. Can you name any of the other five?
I know Glenn Hoddle is one.
Yeah.
Because I'm pretty sure he's the only guy that's been older to score his first one. I'm going to say Drogba.
Yeah.
Sure, Lampard had left by that point, so not Lampard. Solar.
Yep. Two more.
Di Canio.
No.
Okay. Anelka.
Di Canio.
I don't.
Don't you mean Di Matteo?
That one. There's a D in there.
John Terry and Poyet.
Okay, I'd have probably got Terry. Not a chance I'd have got Poyet.
But a decent win for Chelsea. You know, they, in my eyes, they continue to be hit and miss with the performances. You know, they were very poor against us. We weren't as good either, but 0-0 draw.
Yeah,
they look well, but Sheffield United look very poor this game.
They did. A positive, obviously, for Chelsea is Werner is very much in form now.
Yeah. Just in time for an international break.
Yep. Ziyech seems to be coming into his own. He got 2 assists in this one.
He's looking very good.
His first from last weekend, so this seems to now be.
Go on.
So this now seems to be that Chelsea's new signings are starting to gel.
He could have easily had about 7 assists this game and a goal for himself as well. He got the ball at the end of the box, tried to curl it in, and the defender's head cleared. But he is looking very good.
Yeah, obviously Werner went 4 games, his first 4 games without a goal or assist, and now he's got 5 in his past 4 goals and 1 assist. So a bit of a purple patch for him. Obviously, Chelsea fans will be hoping he can keep that run up. As a Liverpool fan, I hope he spectacularly fails.
I mean, we said before we started recording that neither of us know who's got who in the next game, so we haven't predicted yet. But,
no.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see if Chelsea can continue the form after the international break. Like you say, with the players starting to gel a bit more. I think Lampard needs it. There's not much pressure on him in terms of the media because the media is just putting pressure on everybody else.
Because he's English.
But there's got to be plenty of pressure from the board and from Abramovich.
Yeah, but like you say, with Chelsea, we could quite easily be sat here in a couple of weeks' time and be talking about how poor they were.
Exactly.
They're sort of like a well-off Leeds this season.
But they're fifth. That's not bad. They've spent a lot of money, so there's definitely a lot of expectations on Chelsea this season. Being up there, especially if you look where some of the other clubs that usually are up there are, being up there in fifth, they're getting the points early. So
yeah, depending on next weekend's fixtures, they could easily finish at top of the league. For all we know. So I don't know who's playing who, but we will soon find out.
The goal fest kind of died.
It did.
I
had a 2-0 West Ham win in this one.
I had a 2-1 Fulham win in this one. So
why?
I mean, it was 0-0-0.
It was.
It was nearly a draw.
The 91st minute for West Ham, Suek getting what turned out to be the winner in the end. It wasn't a great game at all.
No, not much happened. I'm looking at my notes and I've got 2 notes. I've got one about the goal.
The goal and the penalty.
Yeah, so a couple of minutes later, there was a penalty for Fulham. The chance to at least get a point. Well-needed point for Fulham as well, should I say. And probably the easiest save of Fabianski's career ever. I don't think he'll ever have an easier save from that, especially from a penalty. But Lookman tries to do a Panenka, and if your team's 2-3-4-0 up and you've got a penalty, try a Panenka. Why not? If your team is losing 1-0, this is the last chance of the game.
Yeah.
You smash that into the back of the net.
I mean, Fabianski started to dive and had time to get back onto his feet and still claim the ball.
There was just no power in it at all. I don't think if Fabianski had picked it up, it was probably going to bounce back anyway.
Yeah.
There was just nothing on it.
My question to you was, do you think it was a penalty? Because to me, he was definitely looking for that at that stage of the game. There was a kick on his ankle, fair enough.
I think it was a soft one. There was definitely a kick on his ankle. I don't know. There was definitely more, and this isn't just attacking you, but there was definitely more on that than there was on Salah last week.
It's just a shame there wasn't more on the penalty than Salah's last week.
But I just want to put it out there. If I think that was another soft penalty, but there was definitely a big kick on his ankle.
Yeah, like you say, last chance of the game, you can understand. Well, you can't really understand why he's looking for it, but you know what I mean.
Yeah.
They're always going to go down in that situation. But yeah, just couldn't capitalise. Fair enough for Lookman, he was clearly devastated after it. But he's a young lad. He'll learn from that.
Yeah.
Hopefully.
So West Ham are now 12th. I think Fulham, I think the only reason that they're not in the bottom 3 is because the bottom 3 are playing so poorly. But they're currently 17th with 4 points. Just 1 point. In fact, the bottom 4, it goes 1 point, 2 point, 3 point, 4 point. They're just not looking good at all. I literally thought the week before they got the first win. I'm not going to say that they're going to get loads of points, but maybe that kind of gave them a boost. but obviously not.
Yeah, I mean, they can count themselves a bit unlucky as well with the goal they conceded. It was a good ball across to Suek, who slotted it home, but in the build-up to the goal, Haller was offside,
Yeah,
definitely impacting the defender, but because play went on for a bit longer, it was then considered a different phase of play. But you could have quite easily have seen the linesman put his flag up for that anyway.
I am surprised that VAR didn't disallow that, to be honest with you.
Yeah, and I say it wouldn't surprise me if we see one ruled out similar to that later this season.
That's it. I think that's it's definitely my frustration, but I think that's fans' frustrations where there's no consistency, because the amount of times that you see fans talking about an instance that's happened at the weekend, and then they always compare it to something very, very similar where it went the opposite way earlier on in the season. And there isn't any consistency with the reffing, with the linesman, and definitely with VAR.
Yeah, which obviously you can understand when there is no VAR because you haven't got a chance to look at it again. But when you're looking at it again, then
And
it
when
should be
every
better.
single goal is being looked at from VAR for so many different reasons, offsides, handballs, someone's not clipped the toenails enough, it's just ridiculous how much VAR is looking at on every single goal, and they're still making mistakes.
And well, we managed a couple of weeks really without talking about it, but this is every game. We didn't mention it in the Chelsea game. There we go.
And then we come to Sunday.
Not quite the whatever word you used earlier on, which I've already forgot.
Goalsome.
Golsome. Definitely wasn't a Golsome day.
No. So it started off West Brom versus Spurs. Spurs have been proper firing on all cylinders. They've got Bale. I think this was his first start, maybe,
I
since his
think it was
comeback.
the first one back, yeah, in the league at least.
You've got Son and Kane that's been assisting each other and smashing them in for fun. And Spurs won West Brom 1-0.
Yep, Harry Kane with the goal. I went 4-0 Tottenham on this one.
I went 2-0. So at least I made more sense than you.
There was a lot of people I know that had triple captured Kane this weekend in the fantasy football because they expected goals galore. So, fair play to West Brom.
I had Son as captain.
I didn't even do my team this week, so I keep forgetting.
No, I didn't, but I know I had him as captain.
I mean, Spurs had the chances, but it definitely wasn't their best game this season.
No, I think they were probably lucky to get 3 points. They definitely didn't deserve it. I don't think either team deserved the 3 points.
Again, another late goal, the 88th minute, this time for Kane, which is his 251st career goal. 250 coming in the Europa League midweek. And he's now clear in 9th on the all-time Premier League goal scorers list. He's levelled with Ferdinand last week. And, he's now gone above him, so that's your Kane watch for this week. I mean, it was a header as well, but that got the win. Doherty's cross to set up the goal. And I imagine a fair bit of relief for Jose. Not too long before West Brom did hit the bar, which was definitely their best moment and move of the game. But yeah,
just a dull game.
It wasn't ideal for Tottenham. Put them top of the league, obviously.
Yeah.
With the win. But yeah, Jose definitely wanted improvement. I mean, like we said earlier on, it could have been a bit fatigue with them playing in the Europa League on Thursday. I think they played a few of the first team players as well in that. So,
possibly,
but then
we've said that all the games are ramping up, and playing they'll play. They went at one stage where they were playing 4 games in a week, weren't they? Because they were playing
Yep.
weekend, then they were playing Carabao Cup, then they were playing Europa, and then they were playing league again. So any team that's got fatigue so far this season, they're definitely one of them that should be having it.
Yeah, but they also have the players to be able to rotate, and you've got to use these players.
I think Mourinho's kind of slagged off a lot of his players at the moment, hasn't he, with the performances. He constantly gets asked why such and such is playing and why such and such isn't playing. And I can't remember if it this week or last week, and he turned around and said, I don't want to ever be asked that question again after the performance. But yeah, it put him on top until the next game, which was Leicester versus Wolves. Only a 1-0 win for Leicester.
Yeah, I went 3-3 in this game.
Plenty of goals, yeah?
Yeah, loads of goals. I mean, 2 attacking teams, and
I went 3-1 to Leicester. Again, I thought there was a lot more goals. I thought Wolves had a bit more about them, but
kicked us off with a bit more controversy yet again. Penalty given for handball.
Definite handball.
Again, correct. Harsh, yes, because for me that's your natural running movement, and he's armed by his body, but it is sticking out.
Yeah, the cross comes in and it's the defender on the arm. Great penalty from Vardy.
Yep, another goal for Vardy.
And I just want to point out as well, that was their 7th in 8 games, which is absolutely ridiculous.
But
then not long after, they had the 8th of the season in 8 games.
They did. This one definitely penalty.
Yeah,
there was no question about this one at all. It was a long ball over the top. Defender makes a mistake, and Tamari Gray gets there first and just gets cleaned out by the defender. You say Stonewall penalty this time. But to everyone's shock, really, Vardy has it saved.
Yeah, to be fair though, I don't think, like we said about the others, I don't think this was a bad penalty. I think it was a good penalty and an even better save from the keeper, in my opinion, Patricio.
Yeah, then Vardy was very unlucky with a rebound. It hit him and sort of just looped wide.
Yeah, he didn't really
very easily have gone in.
I don't think he really knew that it was happening, kind of thing. It just hit him.
And that was pretty much it for this game. Wolves had some chances. Michael pulled off a couple of decent saves. There was one that sticks in my mind from when it happened, and there was a rocket from outside the area, and he just dives and holds it.
Yeah.
And I don't think of many keepers that wouldn't have pushed that away. But no, just trust themselves and secure. So
it went as an interesting game as we both predicted. But that put Leicester at top. So a crucial win for them. I still think that they're going to be. I'm not saying that they're going to win the league, but the performance that I've seen from them and the team that they've got, I think that they could definitely be up there towards the end of the season, putting pressure on whoever is at top, if they're not top.
Yeah, I mean, you predicted Leicester to finish 5th at the end of the season, and I'd say they're good bet to be at least there.
I did also have Man City to be a lot higher than where they are at the moment. So,
well, I had Leicester finish 7th. So, just one more fantastic save from Schmeichel, another one from outside the area, which he pushes over. Great save. Barnes should have made it 2-0, a player that we've praised an awful lot this season. Misses a pretty good chance. But yeah, like we say, in the end, Leicester go top of the table with the 3 points.
I think this is it with Leicester. Over the past couple of years, they've lost some big players that have been game changers for him. The likes of Maguire, Kante, Mahrez. They've lost some very big players, but they still managed to either bring them through or get some other players that can do just as well as them. And they've got a squad of talented players that can definitely do a lot. And I'm hoping that they're not just relying on Vardy. I think that's my worry for Leicester is that without Vardy, they're not going to get the wins. They're not going to get the goals. There's plenty of players there that can score, but it just seems like it's always Vardy. Well, majority of the time it's Vardy. So
I mean, you look at the teams up there, and obviously for me as a Liverpool fan, if I had to say Liverpool can't win the league, who would you want to win it? It'd be Leicester.
yeah, I think they've become kind of a lot of people's second or third favourite team in the Premier League, just because
It costs 5,000 to 1.
it was a freak win when they won the league. I'm not saying they didn't deserve it. I do think that it was because most of the other teams had a poor season, but you can't take it away from them. A team that nearly got relegated, the season before,
Yeah.
all of a sudden wins the Premier League. And you can't take that away from them. And even though they had a bad season the season after where they nearly went down again, they've still keep coming back. They still keep coming up there and getting into Europe and everything like that. So good luck to them. If Man United can't win it, definitely not Liverpool. But yeah, I hope Leicester win it.
And yeah, obviously that win put Leicester top, guaranteed for a couple of hours at least before the next game.
Yes, Man City versus Liverpool.
Yeah,
the big game. These games where we keep seeing, these are the big games.
Yep. I went 3-1 to Man City.
I went 3-1 to Liverpool.
And we got a 1-1 draw.
And a poor game.
If I had been live streaming this and you'd watched me, you'd been ringing an ambulance concerned for my health because my blood pressure was through the roof. A fantastic first half, one of the best halves of football you'll ever see.
Yeah, from both
Second
teams.
half,
there
one of the worst halves of football you'll ever see.
There were some decent chances from both, but City just had nothing about them.
No,
a lot of people didn't want to shoot.
A lot of people said that City first 20 minutes are fantastic, and then after that drop off, and that's definitely not what happened in this game. Very big chance earlier on for Firmino, and I think he showed that he's lacking in confidence in front of goal. Ederson comes rushing out, as he did a lot this game. Ederson did not cover himself in glory at all in this game.
No.
And instead of trying to dink it over Ederson, he tries to take it round him and loses the chance. Then Robertson plays the ball into Mane, gets into the area and brought down by Walker, and penalty's given.
Of course he went down. Very soft penalty again.
As Roy Keane put it best, I think. He was up against an idiot. And that is Walker's biggest issue for me. He's a good player, but he has these lapses in concentration. If he'd been paying full attention, then Mane wouldn't have got goal side of him in the first place. And I like Walker.
I think this was a soft penalty, and I think it's Sterling that could have had one similar the other side, the other end. Sorry.
Well, Sterling's would have been a free kick because he got nudged by Jota outside the box, ran for about 5 yards, and then went down.
Yeah,
which is what City were complaining about before the penalty was taken. I saw a lot of City fans on Twitter saying that it should have been a penalty. I don't think it kind of works like that.
I think it were very soft. Again, if that was a bad challenge enough for a penalty, then the other one definitely should have been, at least a free kick. But I don't think either of them should have been penalised at all. But
Salah steps up and
great penalty.
Good penalty. Not quite sure what Ederson was doing. He sort of just fell to the ground instead of actually diving. But yeah, like you say, good penalty for Salah. And with the way Liverpool started the game, I very much expected us to go on and score a couple more. Didn't happen. the lack of midfielders sort of became an issue for Liverpool, and Jesus scored a world-class goal. What a turn it was inside the box.
Yeah, definitely. And we've said that Man
Did he
City's
mean it?
missed that player. I think it did.
Well, that's his third appearance this season, and he's scored in all of them so far. He says he meant it.
They've definitely been missing that attack. Someone score them goals. And even though City didn't look very good in attack, he added something that they have been missing. He scored midweek as well, didn't he? In
He
Champions League. So, you know, hopefully he can. Well, I say hopefully, but I think he can boost them. And I think City's just lacking in the confidence right now.
It's not the City we expect to see. I had a few criticisms of Alisson once again for this goal. The turn happens and he sort of comes out and stops and then just doesn't really do anything. For me as a goalkeeper, you've got to keep coming out. You've got to make yourself big. Perhaps the most surprising thing about this for City was that goal was just one of two shots on target for them all game. And again, I know we haven't got fans in there, but playing at home, a team like City, even against Liverpool, you expect a lot more than that. They only had 7 shots all game.
You expect City to be doing a lot better. No matter how the form is, when it comes to a big game, it's like no matter how the form is, but you know, if Liverpool's smashing everybody 6-0 and Man United's losing 6-0, when Man United play Liverpool, that's when the form goes out the window. And I think it should have been the same for this. The form, you know, you've been up and down. You haven't been having great performances over the past couple of weeks, in my opinion. City's definitely been terrible, but this should have been the game. This is the kind of game at the moment over the past couple of years where if you're trying to sell the Premier League, you'd sell Man City and Liverpool.
Yep.
And if you tried to sell the Premier League with this game, I don't think anybody would buy it.
Show them the first half and then possibly. But obviously, the action didn't stop there. City won a penalty similar to the Leicester one, where it hit Gomez's arm from across. Referee went over to monitor, gave the penalty. Again, correct decision. I still think it's harsh, like I said in the last one. This one was more of a penalty than the Leicester one, definitely.
Yeah, his arm more out.
But I still don't really understand. I mean, we've said this all season, what a defender's going to do when he's running.
Yeah.
Not that it mattered in the end. After the state of the penalty, it was not a good one.
Yeah, you expect De Bruyne to score these all day long.
Yep.
It was just a very poor kind of as if he sliced it and it just went wide of the post and just awful penalty.
It really, really was. I say then second half it just wasn't great at all. Not much happened. Liverpool had chances, but like you said, when we started talking about this game, just afraid to shoot.
Yeah.
One specific moment where Mane got in behind the defender, and you'd expect him to try and curl it past the keeper, and he cuts inside and loses his chance.
I think Man City had most of the possession, or at least most of the attack in the second half, which is what it seemed like as well. But they did nothing with the attacks.
To point out how poor the second half was, there wasn't a shot on target after the 50th minute.
It was just
either team.
It was just awful. I just switched off.
Man City didn't have a single shot on target after the goal. And like you say, talking about teams like this is not what you expect at all.
No, this is a team that they scored over underdog goals. Season before, weren't it?
Yeah. I mean, they're both teams that you expect goals from.
But this season so far, in 7 games, they've scored 10.
Yeah, maybe now Jesus is back, things could change. Another player that I really like.
I think they need to, because they've been relying on Aguero so much. I think, and you know, I know he was getting on a bit, but I said this at the start of the season. David Silva, um, because he's gone, even at his age, he was doing so much, and him Aguero and De Bruyne was linking up really well, and Sterling as well.
Yep.
And they're definitely missing something. And I wouldn't be surprised. I don't know if any teams are going to be selling anybody, but I won't be surprised if they spent something in January because they definitely need something.
Yeah, I mean, they're a team that we spoke about for years, saying they need to improve their defence. And now that seems pretty decent, and it's the other end of the pitch struggling in.
Well, it should be decent, the amount of money they've spent on their
Yeah.
defence. About 500 million.
As I said to you, I'd have been happy with a draw before the game, but after seeing the chances we had in the game, I was fuming.
Yeah.
This annoyed me more than the Aston Villa 7-2 defeat. But I mean, I should be happy since we lost De Bruyne. We lost him, since we lost Van Dijk. We've not actually been that bad.
Yeah, I still think you're struggling, but you.
And
a few weeks ago, Liverpool had a poor result against Aston Villa, and Aston Villa kind of continued that form against the top six clubs when they beat Arsenal 3-0 in the last game of the weekend.
They did.
This
I
isn't something
predicted a Villa win.
You did.
I went 2-1.
I went 1-1 because I just, Arsenal they didn't look good against us. They're okay. They're looking okay at the moment. Villa, we're just not sure how long this form's going to go on for. Obviously, they started off really well, just like Everton did, and it's kind of gone off a bit.
Yeah, I mean, they had back-to-back defeats, which is obviously not good for them after, say, the run they had. Because Villa obviously put 7 past Liverpool and then went to beat Leicester the week after, and then lost to Leeds and Southampton before this game. So
Leeds and Southampton weren't big enough for them, though, right? It's
so
only against the top club.
Southampton obviously how they're doing now this season, it makes a bit more sense. But when you look at the start of the season, obviously you pick certain fixtures out, and but yeah, Villa were good. Scored a goal after 47 seconds, or did they?
Yeah. So fantastic strike from McGinn.
Yep.
There were no stopping that whatsoever. Sadly, VAR said no. I think it was Barkley was in an offside position, and it was also in the line of sight for the keeper.
Yeah, I mean, there's no debating. He definitely was in the line of sight, and he was offside. But it took 5 minutes to get this decision.
Do you know why it took 5 minutes?
Because he was drawing on the little fancy lines.
No, so that wasn't the only reason. So it took 5 minutes, and this just sums VAR down to the T. So when Martin Atkinson, when he went over to have a look at the monitor, it wasn't working. So they had to get a secondary monitor so that he could have a look at the replay.
Are we going back to the situation in France from last year where rats chewed through the cable so VAR wasn't able to be used?
I don't know what it was. They did eventually get the screen working, but yeah. So that's one of the reasons why it took so long. And I think that just said a lot about VAR this season.
Yeah, I mean, it's good that he did go over to look at it. It's like I say, they can say to him, well, Barkley's in an offside position. You look at this, you make a decision if he's interfering or not.
I think it was a correct call.
It was.
It was just a shame because that strike was fantastic.
Yeah, as I said to you, for me it's a bit hard because there's no chance the keeper's saving that. And you don't want to see goals like that disallowed, but it was correct, unfortunately.
And then about 5 minutes later as well, McGinn was on the opposite end and nearly put through Partey for a chance, but luckily the keeper saved it.
Yeah, action-packed opening few minutes for him.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. But Villa looked good, and Arsenal didn't look great, to be honest with you.
Yes, so all you Arsenal fans that last week, but Arsenal are back. Yes, I'm taking shots at Arsenal yet again on this podcast.
I mean, I work with a few Arsenal fans, and the jibes that I got before the Arsenal game, the form that we was in, weren't doing very well. They were saying that Man United's done. Man United's been shit for last God knows how many years, and we're nothing team. But when they beat us 1-0 against, scoring a penalty, which I still don't think was a penalty, they came out and said that they're back. So are we a big team that you're proud of beating, or are we a shit team that are nothing? So you need to make your mind up, Arsenal fans.
Yep. One person that needed to make his mind up was Saka. Caught out of position for the opening goal and managed to, score in his own goal. So not great from him. It was a lovely reverse ball from Barkley. And then the ball came across from someone. Can't think who it was now, but yeah, Saka tries to get there in front of the attacker and manages to knock it into his own goal.
Yep.
Arsenal had the chances. Lacazette yet again, third week in a row, guilty of missing a massive chance with a header. A free header about 7 yards out, and he puts it over.
I did see in a chat that I was in while watching this game, a couple of Arsenal fans telling Lacazette to go home. I think they're done with him. He's not done what they expected him to do when they signed him.
Yeah, like I say, it's 3 weeks in a row now. He's missed a massive chance. Rob Holding also missed a big chance. Sort of let him off a little bit more being a defender. But he still should have done better. Before Ollie Watkins shows him how it's done.
Yeah. Watkins doing fantastic. And funnily enough, I kind of took him out my fantasy league 2 weeks ago. Kind of regret that now.
Yeah. So crossfield ball, Barkley first time knocks it across the face of goal, and Watkins just there to tap him with his head for his first. And then 3 minutes later, he had his second. And this time, Grealish, that man, turns provider. Grealish probably should have scored in between these two goals as well. He had one cleared off the line.
I think Villa's they've got some players. You got the likes of Barkley, who he went to Chelsea and kind of didn't do much. This is his revival. You've got Grealish, who I can't see him being there at the end of this season. You've got Watkins, who again I think is he an Arsenal fan? I think.
Possibly. I know he was signed from Brentford in the summer.
I think I think there was a quote saying that one of his childhood dreams was to score for Arsenal. So I think he's an Arsenal fan. So
instead of scoring against them.
Yeah, but he's playing well. I think Villa's got some talented players that are doing well for him this season so far.
And his second goal was lovely. Grealish out-muscling a defender, plays the ball through for Watkins, who slots it past Leno. To really seal it for Villa. And like I say, Villa looked really good in this game again. And yeah, they're just getting results against the bigger teams, really. That they're certainly not afraid of them.
No, and we keep saying it, and I think a lot of the critics, football fans out there, are still saying it as well. It probably won't last long. Hopefully it does. I like seeing these underdogs doing really well. Villa's one of them. Villa's looking like a Leicester from a couple of years back that's kind of come up and shocked us. If they finish top half, that'll be a fantastic season for them. They're already on 15 points, so I can't see them going down. even if the form did massively take a dip for the rest of the season. But if they keep scoring plenty of goals against some of these top teams, then they're definitely a team that teams are going to not want to play.
No, definitely not. As Arsenal found out.
Yeah. So
Um,
that kind of put Arsenal down to 11th, so they're just below Man City as well. So they've taken a massive drop. I think there was 8th before this game. They're down there on 12 points, and Villa 6th, level on points with Chelsea, who's 5th.
I mean, at the moment, Villa are prime for top of the table. They win the game in hand, then they go top.
And the game in hand against Man City, they
Yeah.
like beating the top clubs at the moment. But sadly, I think we've kind of looked at when the possible game in hand game could be played, and I don't think it's going to be January, February.
Middle January, February time, yeah.
Well, normally February is when Champions League knockout stages start. So, depending on if Man City's still in there, you might be struggling to get that. You've got the FA Cup and this is it the quarters or the semis, the Carabao Cup just before Christmas.
Quarters before Christmas. I think they've made the semi single leg at least, so they do have that extra week there.
But I think it's going to be tough to try and get this game in hand in. So that kind of leaves us with the weekend. I got 4 points from predictions. You got 5. So
yeah,
a win from you, but overall you're just 1 point behind me. So there's not that much difference, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I mean, I won this week with what has been our worst score so far. I mean, between us, we got 9 points, which both of us have achieved this season on our own. So yeah, definitely wasn't an ideal one. First weekend without a correct score from either of us.
Yeah.
But yeah, you're leading 41-40.
No, 42-41.
I haven't added a point on from the last game, that's why.
I've got it 42-41 anyway. Yeah, so we'll see if we can start getting some more points going on from these weeks. Take a quick look at the table then. So we've currently got Leicester top, 1 point above everybody else. You got Tottenham and Liverpool 2nd and 3rd, Southampton in 4th, and Chelsea in 5th. Villa level on points with Chelsea in 6th. Everton, Palace, and Wolves 7th, 8th, and 9th on 13 points. Man City mid-table, which is still weird to say, with 12 points, level with Arsenal in 11th. You got West Ham and Newcastle United 12th and 13th with 11 points. You got Man United and Leeds United together. I don't like seeing that. With 10 points. The
first time this season you were above Leeds.
Yeah. Due to the amount of goals that they conceded. So I was very happy with that. 16th, Brighton with 6 points, trying to peel themselves away from the bottom. Fulham 17th, just above relegation zone with 4 points. And then West Brom with 3, Burnley with 2, and rock bottom, Sheffield United with 1 point, minus 10 goal difference. Not one win yet. They are struggling.
Yep, and there's still 4 teams that have conceded more than them. So, and 1 team that scored less than them.
Well, I mean, you're one of the teams that's conceded more than them, which that's again.
Yeah, we've conceded weird. 16, 7 of them in 1 games.
So, it's an international break now, so nothing's going to be changing for another 2 weeks. But it'll definitely be interesting to see how this is come end of November. And then obviously Christmas time as well. We usually say Christmas time is roughly how the teams are going to be finishing. So I'd love to hear what you guys think. Actually, I'd love to hear. How do you think the live games should be shown for the rest of the season? How do you think the English Football League should go in the future? You know, obviously we don't want that ridiculous Premier League offer that Liverpool and Man United apparently wrote up and put forward. We don't want the European Super League, or maybe you do. Drop it in your comments below. Let us know your ideas, your opinions, even on all the games that we've talked about this week, how the teams are doing this season, whether it's your team or just a team that you kind of watch now and again. And just talk to us in the comments. That was really bad. But let us know in the comments and follow us on Twitter as well. And again, tell us your opinions. Tell us what you think about the games this weekend, next weekend. You know, tweet us as the game's live. We'll watch the game live with you and we'll interact with you, no problem.
Yeah, last weekend we had polls put out for who you think is going to win the game, so I'm going to try and do that every week.
Yeah.
Even if it means scheduling the tweets in advance, depending on work, obviously. But we want to see your input on the games. Everything you need to know is down in the description. Our personal socials, obviously the channel socials. Come talk to us on any of them.
Yeah, we want to be more interactive, and we also want your feedback. You know, tell us what you think we could do better, apart from our opinions and apart from my background.
And what football team our supports,
and you support. But let's move on to the awards.
Yeah.
So I kind of struggled for the awards, and you're probably not going to agree with me on some of them, but that's okay because I don't care your opinion. So this is where we talk about. This is where we give our award for the player, the goal, the team, and the gaff of the weekend. So I'll start with the player. I just didn't see a standout player in my opinion. But there was a couple obviously, but I gave it to Bruno. There were a few reasons, obviously. Two good goals, even though one was very lucky. He definitely didn't need to score that one, but he got it anyway. The fact that he was on for an hat-trick and great run, and he passed it to Cavani, not being greedy. He could easily try to go for his hat-trick and then messed it up anyway. And then just the interview afterwards, just how I think he's kind of like a leader at Man United at the moment. I think he's the one that's kind of boosting the players. I've seen his anger when we've been playing poorly. He doesn't like losing, and I've seen his anger at the players as well. So he's a standout player for me at Man United at the moment for so many reasons. So I gave it in this week.
I have agreed with you on this one. I've also gone for Bruno. 2 goals and assist, and you got to love a bit of shithousery against Everton. So I've given it him for taking out Lucadinha. That's the exact reason. No, I say two pretty good goals and a nice assist as well. For me, when I was thinking of players this weekend, it was the first one that came to mind. So it just had to be based on that.
The goal. So the goal of week was easy for me, or as you could say. The free kick for Palace.
Yeah, I have agreed with you yet again on this one.
Wow.
So, yeah, another fantastic free kick. So, as it is, I've not given it to Fulham for once because, they didn't score.
Team of the week. Probably bias. I've gone for Man United. We look good. We've been hit and miss for so much, and we'll probably be poor again when the international break's over. But we look good. We bouncing back from a very shocking result midweek. I think that's what you want your team to do.
Yeah, I've given it Aston Villa this week for
I was going to give it
dismantling
that.
Arsenal.
Yeah, they definitely deserve it.
Which is the second time this season I've given it to Villa, so I never thought I'd be doing that at the start of this season at all.
And then the gaff of the week, for me, without a doubt, your team's 1-0 down. This is the last chance of the game. You've got a penalty. You've got the chance to get a well-needed point for your team, and Lookman just fluffs it up for a penalty.
Yeah, I considered Lookman. I considered De Bruyne for his penalty, but I've gone with VAR for ruling out Bamford's goal.
Fair. It is kind of. I'm going to put refs, handball, and VAR in one basket, and yeah, I think they're becoming a regular.
Yes.
for a referee of yourself as well. There's definitely a lot of criticism. And I think there's a couple weeks where you nearly gave it to the ref as well, but you gave it to a player. So yeah,
Yeah, I think I've been looking to give it to them as much as possible. So.
Right. So that's it. That's talking about our last week's predictions. That's talking about the awards. Again, it's an international break, so there's no fixtures next week. We will have a prediction episode next week for you, where we'll be talking about our predictions. So make sure you subscribe to the channel, hit that bell for notifications. There's going to be plenty of videos coming. Again, I apologise for next week. There's going to be some Champions League ones. There might be some Football Manager related ones. Just a lot of footballing videos coming, not just us talking about the Premier League and talking about the games. So please subscribe, drop a like, comment, follow us on Twitter, all the socials down below. I've been Elmo.
I've been Tuna.
And we'll see you next week.
I don't have an outro for this week.